Okay, once again, thank you very much for joining our EPSG Tiered 1 and 2 support webinar. We're going to begin now. During this webinar, we're going to talk about the enhanced technical support rollout, the support rollout phases, the communications to the merchants that we're making during this pilot and project, understanding the differences between level 1 and 2 tech support, reaching the right desk for tech support, and the metrics of success, what we expect to see by the end of this pilot phase. To speak about the enhanced technical support, EPSG is excited to offer your merchants a new level of expanded technical support. Your merchants will now receive around-the-clock, 24/7, 365 days of support for their business. That is not the new part. What is new are the bullets to the right here. With this new support team, we're going to have a multi-channel communication, meaning the merchant will not only be able to call in to speak to this new team, they'll be able to email, chat, video chat through the use of this application for their mobile device, which we'll talk about later on in the webinar. This new team will also have a workflow-based ticketing system, which will help illuminate the process through which the support team goes to provide the support to the merchant, as well as being able to open up and share tickets with the team at EPSG. There will also be collaborative support between the new tech support team and Dallas support team from EVO, as well as EPSG's agent support team. This new support team supports many third-party integrations, meaning they not only support your straight-up POS systems, or your POS terminals, but they also do support with many known POS providers, software providers, and hardware providers. They also support any technology related to running the merchant's business. So not only do they have support for a merchant's terminal and PIN pad, but they also are able to support a merchant's PC, their printers, their network, anything which a merchant would use to help run their business. To speak about the support rollout phases, we're currently in phase 1, and this revolves around our Deja Vu merchants. This started on the 14th. We sent out our first communication to our merchants in the form of an email. Now, this isn't new merchants. These are existing merchants who were set up with a Deja Vu terminal at one time. The most recent merchant that is in the pilot would be from the end of December, but there are no merchants from this year that are currently in the pilot. Phase 2, which we plan to launch in early March, will involve our gateway merchants. Traditionally, and as it will be, merchants who use gateways generally call the gateway for support first, but they'll be able to use this new support team as a backup to their gateway support team. At that point, we plan on boarding existing and new as-boarded merchants. So as they come live, we're going to be boarding them to this new support team. In phase 3, we're going to load the remainder of the Deja Vu merchants who were approved since the most recent merchant on the pilot, as well as attempting to load new merchants as they become approved to this new support team. Future phases after that will be based around the equipment type. We don't have any concrete plans at this time, but we can say that it'll be something like all merchants using Ingenicos, we're now going to board them. All merchants using certain Verifone terminals, we're going to board them. Merchants with this type of software, will board them. And as we make those phases, we'll communicate out to the agents who have merchants involved. So what did our communications to the merchants look like, and what will they look like? EPSG will be notifying your merchants via the following methods. Introductory email from EPSG, which there's an example here on the right-hand side of your screen, went out. It says the 13th here. I apologize. It actually went out on the 14th. This was an email that went over the new phone number, the options that the merchant would use, as well as some of the other features that will be found with this new support team. We also sent an email out with a link to the application for their mobile device, as well as a username and password that they would use with this application to be able to connect to the new tech support team. We're also sending out a letter which looks much like this email, but will also have a terminal sticker with an updated support phone number that a merchant can affix to the side of their machine, so they'll always have the new support number at hand. That will be going out the week of the 20th. We're also going to be sending out a follow-up email for those merchants who did not open up the email which contained the mobile link. Those should be going out on the 20th. As well as some extra stickers will be getting printed and sent to the office here at EPSG, and we can provide those to any sales partners who'd like a few to hand out to their merchants. Now, I must mention that please do not give out this new support number to any merchants who are not on the pilot. At this time, we want to keep the phone numbers used strictly to those merchants involved in the pilot. At a certain point, we'll be able to open up the scope as to who can call this new support team, but we're not at that point yet. So please hold those numbers close to you and do not just give them out yet. Here are some further examples of the communications that we have made and are going to make. On the left-hand side is a example of the email which went out with the links to download the mobile application as well as their username and password. On the right-hand side is an example of what our follow-up email will look like for those who did not open up that original email. And at the bottom is an example of the new support sticker that we will be sending out to these merchants and eventually affixing to new terminals as they go out the door. Eventually. Now let's speak about the different levels of support and how they break out. Level 1 support traditionally is a simple walkthrough and explanation of day-to-day processes, downloads and updates to terminal profiles. So if you're a merchant calling in who simply needs to be walked through a transaction, how to reprint a receipt, how their terminal runs a report, that would be a level 1 support. Level 2 support is the troubleshooting and resolution of errors and abnormalities in day-to-day processes, updating and maintenance of gateways and host networks. So if a merchant was able to run a transaction one day and the next day they're having issues, that would be something that you might consider level 2 support, as there is an abnormality in normal function, or perhaps an error came up, a new error that a merchant hasn't seen before. This would be a level 2 support. Level 3 is where much more research comes in, further troubleshooting and resolution of exceptional errors, decision point for replacement. So these kinds of errors aren't just a certain decline code or a papers out error. These are deeper errors that we might have to research, reach out to our relationship managers to get more information on. It is also the place where a decision will be made on replacement. So level 1 might not necessarily say, oh, I am not able to run a transaction here, therefore the terminal must be replaced. They would pass that to the next team, who would try most likely the same troubleshooting steps and maybe 1 or 2 extra, and then at that point they would say, well, it seems like this terminal or solution needs to be replaced. And here is a breakout of the different teams' responsibilities as we expect them to be, but please note that the capabilities will be limited during the pilot phase. So some of these things we won't be doing, but eventually they will be available to our merchants and our sales partners. So physical POS setups, setting up a POS or terminal either remotely or on site. If a merchant needs help plugging in the right cords and making sure the terminal is connected to their network correctly, that is something that level 1 will be able to do. Activations, POS and terminal, remote and on-site as well. So setting up the equipment, doing a download and configuring it correctly, making sure the merchant knows how to do all the important functions on this solution. That is something they will eventually be able to handle. POS and terminal walkthroughs, once again, how to run a sale, how to reprint a receipt, things like that. Test transactions, POS terminal updates, POS hardware troubleshooting, PC troubleshooting, and this is where we really get enhanced with the local area network and wireless area network setup and troubleshooting, which is something that they normally would not get help with today. This level 1 support desk will be able to help them out with that, as well as conferencing support across all levels, gateways, POS providers, and third parties. So this level 1, if they are not able to figure something out, they will hook up with our team to get further assistance and possibly pass the merchant along to us if they are unable to handle it themselves. And this is where the level 2 and 3 support comes in. Escalated terminal support, terminal replacement, POS hardware replacement, host front-end and back-end maintenance and updates, updates to gateways, POS terminal updates, and coordination with sales partners and ISOs. To speak more about the mobile application, it is called the Connect app. This is a picture of what it would look like on a merchant when they log into the app on their phone. It'll have EPSG on it. It'll have a space for them to check their service history, chat with their technical support provider. And on the right-hand side here is an example of what it looks like in the App Store. You should search for Connect Tech Support to find the application. The new contact number is 844-229-5443, and once again, this will be on stickers that go out to our merchants and that we'll also have available here at EPSG. It is the same path for support as the normal telephone number. A merchant or a sales rep would hit 1 for support and then 1 for tech support, which goes to the new technical support team, or option 2 for customer service, which goes to Dallas as it does today. All of the other same options that you can find on the original phone number are also on this new phone number. And then with the Connect mobile app, which is supported on iOS or Apple and Android devices, a merchant can call them. They can do live video chat, meaning a merchant can use video chat with this new tech support team so that the tech support team can see what the merchant is seeing, and this should result in more positive technical support experiences. But also through this app, they can email for support, and also they can look at their own support history to see what kind of issues they've had in the past. Perhaps they would like to look at their past issues before calling the new tech support team for assistance. If it's a particularly inquisitive merchant, they could do that themselves. Now, what are we expecting with this pilot? We'll know the pilot is successful when merchants are providing excellent survey scores. So support surveys. Merchants will have chances to rate their recent support experiences. We will have hard metrics on individual successes and failures. So we're not interested only in the 5-star experiences. We're also very much interested in the 1- and 2-star experiences, so we can work with the team to make sure that they are improving and providing the type of support experiences we expect our merchants to receive. We also expect merchants and agents to spend less time on phones, as there should be a drop in repeat phone calls and an increase in one-call resolutions, which is a very important metric for support. The best kind of support is one where a merchant calls in and has their problem resolved, and maybe any other issue that they might be having, all in one phone call. We expect that to be happening more often. Positive feedback. When we hear from our sales partners about the positive experiences they and the merchants are having, that'll definitely be an excellent indicator that we're doing the right thing. We welcome all feedback, however. If it's negative, if it's positive, please give it to us. We'll know what to do better or what to keep doing in those instances. And lastly, we're expecting better business as usual. We expect to have less escalated issues and have more calls handled more quickly than with the existing support scheme. What this means is, merchants should be able to spend less time having to be supported and more time running their business. Now, of course, there will always be issues and someone will always have to call tech support, but rather than have to call 5 different times and speak to 5 different people, we're expecting that it should be a one-call resolution type experience more often than it has been currently. And that wraps up the webinar. If there are any questions that you might have, you can type them now and we can address them. I'll give you a minute to think about them.